Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Welcome to Nation Town Live, Nation Town TV Live. Once again, we are here. I'm with my brother, dear brother, top soldier, Alfonso X, and I'm just your brother, Brother Landon X. And we dealing with a couple of high explosive topics. Once again, you know how we do. First of all, I want to start off by reminding you all that Nation Town TV is devoted to mathematical opinions and facts. It's inspired by our dear student minister, Western Regional student minister, Tony Muhammad, and he planted that seed with the guidance of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan of a town of our own, with our own businesses, our own concepts, our own infrastructure, Nation Town, and this is just one of the first bricks. And again, I'm just your brother, Brother Landon X, and I'm going to start as we always start in the Nation of Islam. With anything we do it in the name of the Most High, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, who appeared to us mercifully in the person of Master W. Fard Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever, plus 1,000 days. As far as I'm concerned, I further bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, to be right and exact and down to the modern times. And I couldn't thank either one of them enough for raising a divine leader and teacher and guide in our midst through the man of the hour, the lamb in our midst, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And in those three great names, I greet all of you in the words of peace. We say it in the Arabic language. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
We're going to jump right into it, dear family. We're dealing with a similar topic, pretty much the continuation of the topic that we dealt with last week, defending the man of the hour, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Not that he needs us to defend him, but as we said last week, defending Farrakhan is defending yourself. If you are a Aboriginal, black, brown, man or woman in this world, if you're just a human being, because what he says is just simply truth. We also have, it's basically our final call cover story. You can get your final call on any corner, in any city, in the United States. And the subtitle of this issue is Challenge What We Say, because you can disagree all day. I can tell you that the sky is blue and grass is green, and you can disagree with it just for the sake of being disagreeable, but challenge what we say. Challenge what we believe and challenge what the minister says. Our secondary topic that we definitely gonna get into this week. We got so heated with the initial topic last week that we didn't touch on our secondary topic. But our secondary topic is actually related to the main topic, and that is the battle in the sky, variation of that teaching of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, where he talked about a literal battle in the sky, dealing with that great and dreadful mother plane. But we feel like the propaganda war that you see online and in print is also a part of that battle in the sky when dealing with the airwaves. So we're going to deal with that. But first of all, as we always start out, I want to start out with the opinion of this top soldier to my right. When we are talking about defending Farrakhan and challenge what we say, dear brother Alfonso, I'm going to let you be the lead off hitter. What is it? What are we saying when we talk about anti-Semites, when we talk about defending Farrakhan? As far as you see it, what are we saying that the people don't want to challenge, or that they're hesitant to challenge?
Will you repeat that question?
What are we saying? As the cover story says, challenge what we say. What is it that we're actually saying? What is it that our naysayers, that these so-called Jews, that and their puppets, who unfortunately are often as black as we are,
Right.
What is it that we're saying that they can't challenge, that we're calling them on to challenge?
First, I would like to open up in the name of Allah, who appeared to us in the person of Master Fard Muhammad,
Yes, sir.
who traveled 9,000 miles to raise up one from among us. You know, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, his last and greatest messenger and exalted Christ. And also bear witness that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is a divine wonder teacher and servant in our midst. And with that, family, I would like to greet you all with the greeting words of peace in paradise. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam, sir.
Yes, sir. Yeah, basically, from my understanding, that most of our enemies, white and black, are running from a theological discussion because all of our issues between one another is either theological or political. And we can prove our political stance based on our foundation of our theological stance, especially among mainstream Orthodox Jews who read and study the Talmud, not the Jews that study the Torah, but the Jews that study the Babylonian Talmud, right? So the basic facts dealing with that, if you are privy to the discussion and the topic, who are the real children of Israel, then you know and understand why they are running and don't want to challenge what we say openly in the public, as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is baiting them to do. Yes, just like in the Old Testament with the prophet Elijah, who challenged the prophets of Baal, to a showdown. You know what I'm saying? The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was the first person to put his life on the line if he is found lying. So if this man is such a wicked man, why is he so willing to give his life? That's my question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that's a good point, dear brother. And for me, as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan pointed out in a very groundbreaking series of books, The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews. If y'all don't have this, then you're missing out in life. But the interesting thing about this, as I've said before, our so-called Jewish naysayers, they are the descendants of the underwriters of the slave trade. And that's not something to sneeze at, because when you're the underwriter of a thing, that means that you're the foundation of it.
That's right.
That means if you pull your money out of something, almost everything that operates in this world today, there has to be money behind it. That's and right. If you take the money out, you can just pay attention to how this government operates. When this government goes to war with someone or some nation or some group, the first thing they do is they try to tie up the money. They try to pull the money out of it. So if you pull the money out of a thing, then you're essentially pulling the rug from under it. And so since they were the underwriters of the slave trade, they were the merchants of the slave trade, they were that trader that set up that trading post that our lesson speaks of, then they also had the power to derail slavery.
That's right.
Long before Abraham Lincoln decided to go to war with the Confederacy, or long before the Confederacy decided to go to war with them. They could have pulled the rug from under it just by taking their money and their business practices out of it, which they did not do. So, it's ironic that they pretend to be, our friends at this point, at this juncture, but they're obviously not our friends. But for some reason, our Christian brothers and sisters, our non-Muslim, our non-Nation of Islam friends or sympathizers seem to think that they're some type of friend. Also, dealing with this book, before we continue, I want to point out that the cover of this book, Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews, the cover of this book, if you pay attention, it has an actual sales advertisement of a slave, and it's being sold by Jacob Cohen. Now, that name Cohen, if you're familiar with the music industry, you can find that name all through Hollywood, all through the music industry, and mind you that it says by Jacob Cohen and Son. And here's what it actually says: to be sold on Monday, the 18th of January, at the Clubhouse at Disto Island, the following lands and Negro, also stock of cattle. So they selling land, a brother, and some cattle all in the same market day. like it's nothing. Like I sell a bean pie and a final call.
Right.
It's just another product.
Right.
But this is coming from Jacob Cohen. Jacob, which can also be pronounced as Yakub.
Right.
So, that's something that we have to deal with and that they have to deal with. So when we say challenge what we say, that's what we're saying. And the beautiful thing about this book, and we're going to go a little bit deeper into this series of books, is that it's all backed up by footnotes and facts,
Right.
actual facts. This is not the opinion of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. This is not the opinion of the Nation of Islam Research Group. These are all facts, and half the book are footnotes. So half the book is proof of what is said in the book. So it wouldn't even be this thick if it was just the book itself, but it's also footnotes. Every page is 50% footnotes. So for people who are one, that's something that you can't even find in your Bible. Where are the footnotes in your Bible?
Right.
But this book is filled with facts, and all of the facts come from actual Jewish writers.
Right. Jewish sources.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Right.
And that's the struggle between the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and his followers and versus his enemies. That there lies a deception.
Come on.
They want to continue to deceive the people and letting them think, that they are angels of light. You know what I'm saying? But just as our lessons ask us the questions, why do you love the devil? Answer, because he gives you nothing. You know what I'm saying? Why do we allow Jewish rabbis who study the Talmud, not the Torah, study the Babylonian Talmud, into our Christian churches, but they despise Jesus?
Come on, that part.
Right, so let me read this scripture for you.
Go ahead.
And this is the work of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, if you have any doubts. And it reads like this. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 3 through verse 3. I'll just read verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means. See, I was just talking about the deception, because they're trying to deceive our people.
Yes,
let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition.
That's right.
So, why did I bring that up? Because when you go and read the Babylonian Talmud, you're going to find some of the most offensive writings from ancient Jewish rabbis, you know what I mean, that just so repulsive. You in your mind, you like, man, this cannot be a people of God. And mind you, the name Israel means one who struggled with God. And we in the Nation of Islam, we teach that the black man is God. So who are the main people that we struggling with today? A people named Israel. Go ahead, my brother.
That's right. That's right. And in Nation Town TV, we don't do a whole lot of just selling wolf tickets and just telling you something and expecting you to just roll with it. Because we're actually broadcasting more toward what we call our lost found family. That's or 85% of those who are trying to learn more about what we believe in Islam and the Nation of Islam. So we can't just leave you. We're not going to do you like the church. We're not going to do you like your public school system or even some of your private schools, your Catholic schools. We're not just going to leave you with something and then tell you to just believe it.
That's
so
right.
I'm going to read from the book.
That's right.
That I just told you about. Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews, Volume 1. There's actually 3 parts to it, including another sub-book.
Go ahead.
But I'm going to go ahead and read just a little snippet. I'm just going to give you a taste.
He's going to give you a little bar.
A little bar. And I read, New York Jewish merchants. What kind of merchants?
Jewish merchants.
Jewish merchants were in several instances charged with and found guilty of selling demented and unsound slaves they had warranted as sound. Now, I'm going to drop a couple of quick bombs on you. First of all, they were not only selling slaves as products, but they were selling defective products. These were slaves who had been so traumatized by the slave trade, which is believable and understandable. When you're on a slave ship for 6 months and you got your sister next to you, she's giving birth, she's having her menses, she's screaming out for your help, but you chained up just like she is and can't do nothing about it. Just imagining that, brother, will drive you crazy. It's amazing that it ain't more what we call 5150s. It ain't more black people who have lost their mind. But anyway, that's one thing, that they were selling crazy slaves.
Man, that's crazy.
But here's another thing, because there's a misconception among black people, even our Caribbean brothers, that slavery was something that only happened in the deep South in the United States and not anywhere else. But actually, this actually reveals that there was also great slave activity up north. It also says Jews also held black slaves for their personal comfort and status. During the first half of the 1700s, black slaves constituted 20% of New York's population, with some Indians also held in slavery. And with every New York family of any wealth or comfort owning slaves. And by the 1720s, Jews formed their religious community, with some paying their dues by sending a Negro slave to clean the synagogue. And they sent the Negro slaves to clean the synagogue because, Jews don't believe in working on the Sabbath. So they sent their they sent their slave to clean the synagogue because, they're trying to be good Jews and they don't want to work on the Sabbath.
Also, remember, Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan taught us that they believe that black people are only meant to be drawers of water and hewers of wood.
Yeah, and they call them goyim. So if you happen to be in a jewelry store or a bank or wherever you can find Jews, fake Jews or whatever you want to call them, if you hear that word goyim, then that's like pinche mianta with our Hispanic family. You want to stop and say, "Excuse me, sir," and make them explain that. But I also mentioned footnotes. If you notice the bottom half of this page, you'll notice something. Those are footnotes, which are basic facts that can be looked up on your own to prove that what you're reading is correct. And again, whoever claims to be factual in what they teach, especially if it's in the book, always look for footnotes. That's something they teach you in school. Always look for footnotes. And these books are filled with footnotes. Now, another thing that we say in the Nation of Islam that people seem to have a problem with, we say that the Jews hated and still hate Jesus. And they hate Farrakhan for the same reasons and in the exact same manner. So, Brother Alfonso, explain that part of it, the fact that Jews hate and still hated and still hate Jesus, and the fact that it's parallel to how they treat Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam and anybody that speaks truth to their power.
I'm glad you asked that, because look, I got a fire verse for the people.
Come on, go ahead with that.
I'm telling you, man, a high explosive.
Come on.
Now, I'm gonna draw the comparisons between Jesus of the Bible, New Testament, versus the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Honorable Elijah Muhammad. All right, I'm gonna bring it from the past tense to the present tense.
Go ahead.
John 8, verses 39 through 44. Bear with me, family. It reads that like this. They answered and said unto him, Abraham is our father. Jesus said unto them, if ye were Abraham's child, ye would do the works of Abraham. But now ye seek to kill me, a man that have told you the truth, which I have heard of God. This did not Abraham.
Come on.
Ye do the deeds of your father. Then said they to him, to Jesus, we be not born of fornication. We have one Father, even God. Jesus said unto them, if God were your Father, ye would love me. For I proceeded forth and came from God. Neither came I of myself, but he sent me. Why do ye not understand my speech? even because ye cannot hear my word, ye are of your father, the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. Now, how does that relate to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Honorable Elijah Muhammad? Because when we talk about black men who stood up in the early 1900s and stood up during a time where there was slavery and civil rights, there were lynchings going on, and one black man boldly stood up in the face of racism and lynchings and said, you are the devil. Right? Said the white man is the devil. And then when our Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan came along, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told him, said, no, I don't even want you to use the word devil no more. I want you to use the word Satan.
That's right.
Right? So there has been nobody other than these two. This is root knowledge. Other than these two who was bold enough to call these people by their real names. They called them by their real names. You know what I'm saying? Satan. You know, and this is why they try to continue to deceive us and to act like they are not saved with all the flood and the propaganda and try to make the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan look like a Hitler lover and all that stuff. All that stuff is deception. You know, but we got to stop looking at the Bible in the past because the Bible is only 25% history and 75% prophecy. So what we think that we are hearing Jesus say is historical, no. What Jesus said is actually taking place right now in this day and time.
That's right. That's right. Now, and like I said, I can't come up off of the facts.
Right.
Because that's become a nice little hashtag on social media, facts. You know, it's like a nice little ad lib that everybody throw out there, facts.
Right.
Facts. But you know, before it was a hashtag, but that's a beautiful ad lib.
Right.
Before it was a hashtag, it was a word. And it means something that's rooted in reality and can be proven in no limit of time.
Right.
That's the basic understanding of that word.
Right.
And one thing I want to direct everybody to, go to NOIRG.org. That's the research group that Dr. Wesley is a part of, and of course is headed by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, where they not only break down where the whole website is just a website full of facts.
Right.
That's all it is. It's a website full of facts. It's not about propaganda and just propagating the faith. But if you disagree with anything that we believe or that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has told the world, then go to NOIRG.org, NOIRG.org. And right now it's on fire because you have now Jewish scholars coming out and backing up the minister.
That's right.
These are Jews who are just committed to and married to truth. And when you really are a scientist and you have a scientist mindset, you know, you marry yourself to truth, and you can't deal with opinion and just belief and spookiness. You have to deal with truth. So you have some honest Jews that are out there and coming out and saying, listen, the man is right. It's in the Talmud.
Right.
And one last thing before we move on this particular topic, and this is directed mostly to our brothers and sisters, Aboriginal people that are out there. If you live in any of the major cities or not so major cities in America, or even in Europe, like London and many of our cities in the Caribbean, you see the brothers out there with the bow tie, with the final call. And a lot of times you may curve that brother. You may walk right past him, even though, because we don't let nobody walk past us without a greeting, without a handshake, without something. But sometimes you might curve us. Sometimes you might tell us, oh yeah, I'm going to come to the mosque. And then when we walk away, you like, yeah, I ain't coming in. Whatever it is that you're doing, in the back of your mind, now some of the brothers and sisters will say it outright.
Right.
No, brother, I'm not going to buy that newspaper.
Right.
I'm not going to buy that bean pie, those cookies, the Eating Fresh products. Nice little plug right there. But whatever it is that, whatever you selling, they tell you they're not going to support it because they have some type of religious or ideological difference of opinion based on what we believe in the Nation of Islam.
Right.
Now, Brother Alfonso, I respect that.
Right.
I respect anybody who makes a sound decision with their money or with their time, because those are the two most important currencies that exist, money and time.
Right.
My only demand to my dear brothers and sisters, whether you realize you my brother or my sister or not, I want you to just be consistent.
Come on.
Challenge what we say, but also challenge what this devil is saying. Challenge what these Jews are saying. Before you walk into Macy's, a Jewish-owned company, before you go to the movie theater, whether you're watching Black Panther or Iron Man or whatever you watching, which all of them are Jewish-owned. All the movie studios Jewish-owned. Before you go and buy that handbag, dear sister, which is designed and distributed by some Caucasian homosexual, before you do whatever it is you're doing, where you're giving money to a Caucasian, I want you to challenge them just like you challenge the brothers in the nation.
Man, come on.
Challenge us the same way.
That's right.
Next Christmas, when it's so-called Black Friday, we spend our money so silly they named the day after us, dear brother.
Come on. That's what they think.
You know, but next Christmas, when you're doing your Christmas shopping, when you go to Macy's, when you go to any of these department stores, I want you to go in there and ask the clerk, ask to speak to a manager, somebody who would know, and ask them, what do you all believe? What is the belief system in this department store?
That's a great point, brother.
Next time you get an advertisement that's asking you to subscribe to the Los Angeles Times, to the Chicago Sun, to the Dallas Morning News, to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the New Orleans Picayune, the Miami Herald, or whatever city you in, and they want you to subscribe to their newspaper, ask them what they believe.
Right. That's a good point.
See, we upfront and honest in the Nation of Islam. We very clear about what we believe and what we subscribe to. In fact, in every issue of the Final Call, in the back, and this goes back to the Muhammad Speaks that preceded the Final Call as we know it today, you have the Muslim program. And in the Muslim program, it breaks down exactly what the Muslims want and what the Muslims believe.
Now, can I,
real quick.
Yes, sir. Yes.
I want you to look through the Los Angeles Times, and I want you to find the page that tells you what all those Jewish writers in there believe. I want you to find that part. I want you to find the department at Macy's that tells you what the Macy's owners believe, what their religious belief is, and where they think Jesus should be right now. Because the truth in the Talmud is that they feel like he should be backstroking in his own excrement. That's where they feel like Jesus should be. But go ask them about that. Challenge not only what we say, but when you're done challenging and trying to debate the Muslims, go debate your 6,000-year oppressor and ask him the same questions before you reach in your pocket. Go ahead, dear brother.
Yeah, just to camel back on what the brother said, because the brother spoke so much true. And I'm going to kind of give you all a scenario how it is when we dealing with our people. Because, you know, self-hatred is a hell of a drug. And so I'm going to give y'all a quick example. You know, I could be walking up, and how you doing, my brother and my sister? You know, your brothers, we out here. You know, this paper have changed my life. You know, the streets kind of raised me up. And this paper changed my life. And I just asked, would you like to support the newspaper? And, you know, and the first thing come out of a brother mouth or a sister mouth is, I believe in Jesus. Do you believe in Jesus? That's the first thing come about brothers and sisters' mouth.
Right.
So I'm right there on the corner, literally having to defend myself on the point on believing Jesus, and I let you know that, yeah, I do believe in Jesus, and you still don't support this. You know what I'm saying? But when you go to a Jewish business or somebody, you don't ask them, hey, excuse me, do you believe in Jesus?
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? No, you come out of the purse or out of the pockets real fast to patronize them in their business. You know what I'm saying? But we trying to build a nation You know what I'm saying? And the first thing that you can think of when you see me, oh, y'all just doing this for money? Wait, hold on, brothers and sisters. I come out of my own money, out of my own pockets for this, just to get to you.
Facts.
So imagine if I get 50 of these every week, 12 months a year, out of my own money. You know what I'm saying? That I'm trying to get back to my people, and I just ask for you to support this.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? If you have any questions, hey, look at, like brother said, you can just look at the back. What the Muslims want, what the Muslims believe. Why? Because we are honest enough from people. But when you ask them what do they believe, guess what they do with the Babylonian Talmud? They hide it from you. If you're not a Jew, you're not allowed to read the Babylonian Talmud. Why is that? You can go and get a Quran from anywhere, but you can't go and get a Babylonian Talmud from nowhere. So think on that.
Think about it. And before we go any further, man, that was all facts. Man, we could close out right there. No. But shout out to all our viewers. Brother Marcus Young, bro. Hey, brother.
That's right.
Hey. Talk about slept on.
Right.
Bars. I know y'all see the For the Nation video that we play here at Nation Town TV, man.
He got some new heat too.
And that brother's extremely talented. He don't just have bars.
Right.
He got pictures too.
Yes,
he got
sir.
the photography game down pat,
Yes,
you know. But check for our brother and keep checking on those Nation Town videos. You will see that video, the brother dropping them bars. All praises due to Allah. Shout out to brother Alec Bay. Sister Latanya, all praises due to Allah, to all our viewers coming in. And don't forget, you know, we're taking comments, questions, as long as they're relevant to what we're talking about, or that it's an interesting comment or question, we will pin it and then we'll get to it. If we miss your question, don't be mad at your brothers. Please don't try to run that fade on us. Don't swing on us. You know, we just, you know, the bullets are flying. It's live, like you see on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. It is live. Bullets are flying, and you know, we spitting that truth. So, you know, we might not see your comment, but we will try to get to it.
That's
but
right.
To touch again on the final call. You know, we don't want to turn this into a final car commercial, but then again, we will.
Bars.
You know, I got that brother Daniel spirit right now. Shout out to bro Daniel with the bro ties. This is not just the Muslim newspaper. This is not just about what's going on in the Nation of Islam. Each page is dealing with what's going on in the world. There's even a page that deals city by city, what's going on in Overland Park, Lansing, Michigan, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. There's an international section that deals with what's going on all over the world. You know, so this is just the news at the end of the day. It's the best news. It's the number one news not controlled by the Jews. But it's news. So when you turn that down, you're saying, no, I don't want to hear what's going on in the world from you.
Stay ignorant.
But I'm going to go home and I'm going to watch CNN.
Right.
I'm going to go home, I'm going to watch MSNBC. What do they believe in and what have they done for you? Or you say, I'm going to go home and watch TMZ.
Right.
TMZ, which is owned by a Jew named Harvey Levin.
Right.
So while we sitting there, you know, like the minister says, thinking and acting like swine, which is what TMZ puts out there. They just put all the dirt of what celebrities are going into. You know, that's a Jew. That's somebody who believes that Jesus should be backstroking in his own boo-boo. I'm just going to call it what it is. But you sitting there and you eating everything that they throw at you, every bit of gossip that they throw at you. If they tell you that your favorite black celebrity has lost their mind, you believe it. If they tell you that your favorite black celebrity killed somebody, you believe it.
That's right.
You know, and who are the people that you're listening to? So challenge what we say, but when you're done with us, please go to your 6,000-year oppressor and challenge them just as well.
And real quick, I also want to say this. Because the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has put the challenge out there a long time ago, you know, but he still got it up, you know what I'm saying, just as somebody want that, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I got to say this to a lot of these coons that's on these news stations, on these media news stations, who claim that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is a bigot, who believe is an anti-Semite. You know, I got to tell our people that a lot of you are enemies to the black community.
Come on, teach.
You know what I'm saying? And if any of y'all want to debate and have a theological study, I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? I guarantee Brother Landon is ready.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? And when we send that challenge out to y'all, you know what I mean? Because if you got nerve to run to the enemy and make claims behind a man who's been standing for the black community for over 60 years, you are an enemy of our community.
Come on.
And that's the conclusion that I came down with that. So if you can prove what you say, you know what I mean, to the world, you know what I mean, then I'll step down. But I highly doubt, and I definitely got faith in my Allah,
yes,
you know what I'm saying, that he's going to cast down, you know what I'm saying, all the enemies of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So, you know, that's just a quick message to y'all.
Yes, sir. That was a cold public service announcement there, brother. Yes, sir. But, you know, and Brother Fonzo, you mentioned a part of our lessons earlier where we say we like the devil because he gives us nothing. Not a damn thing. And I can't come off the final call. I got one more thing on the FCN, on the final call.
Yes, sir.
I was thinking just the other day how the enemy, how the oppressor, or like they say on Black Panther, the colonizer, how they distribute their newspapers as opposed to how we distribute. What we believe in the nation, we believe in that hand-to-hand touch. You know, that personal touch. You see the brother, we look clean. Ain't nobody cleaner than a Muslim. I don't care what you believe in. It ain't, you can eat off our back, man. It ain't nobody clean. We come smiling, we come with a good spirit, and we put it in your hand. That's exactly what we say, man. Put the truth in your hand, black man. Put it right in your hand. And then we just simply ask for a donation. Now compare that to how the devil peddles his news. First of all, they put them in those little boxes on the curbside. So it's like they feeding you like a dog. They just put it in there, and then they say, "Come get it." You know, like a farmer that farms pigs. You know, they just pour it in a slop trough, and then the pigs just come and eat it up. Or
good point.
Or they put it in a little plastic bag like dope. Like some dope boys.
You drop it on the ground.
And then just toss it at your house. There you go. And then we fetch it like a dog. We fetch it like a wild animal. And we believe everything that's in it. You don't even know who threw that newspaper in your yard. You know? But, you know, I just got to thinking about that. How they are so confident that they have us so confused. They're so confident in their confusion. They're so confident in their tricknology that they don't even respect you in the act of tricking you. They don't even respect you in the act of punking you. And they don't even respect you in the act of oppressing you. They put it in a bag and just throw it at you. You know, the worst customer service in the world is dope boy customer service. You know, you ain't never heard of customer service in the trap house. You know, it ain't no customers always right when you selling dope. But I was thinking, man, newspapers and the way this devil distributes their news is just as bad. They don't care what you think. They don't care if one of their writers writes something and you disagree with it. In fact, the more controversial, the better. But they know we are going to agree with it. And if we disagree with it, we ain't going to do nothing. We just going to support it even more. Like a lot of people who don't like Fox News, they stay watching it. I used to work with this guy who claimed that he hated Republicans and he hated Fox News. But every day I ran into him, he gave me a rundown on what was on Fox News yesterday. And I had to tell the dude, I was like, listen, if you don't agree with it and you hate it, then why are you supporting it? So as black people, we have to start asking ourselves, what are we giving our time and our money to? Because that proves what you really believe in. And that's in the Bible. For wherever a man's treasure is, so is his heart. So we putting our treasure behind people who not only are our oppressors, but these are the people who believe your Jesus should be backstroking in his own excrement.
And just to add to that, one thing about the American people, we cannot put our trust in the fifth estate. You know what I'm saying? The fifth estate was made for free press.
Right.
You know what I mean? But now this press has been weaponized. What I mean by weaponized, because it has Jewish owners, they use media and propaganda in other countries to overthrow governments, to sit down rulers and kings and these presidents and these type of people in other countries. So if these people are capable of doing that in other places, you know, they are masters at here. You know what I mean? They know that the black man and black woman of America has been hit over the head.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Has been put to sleep. Has been suffering from the Willie Lynch syndrome, and they know that we have a level of self-hatred that only God Himself can reverse.
Come on.
And they, you know, so they understand what they are dealing with, and they are capitalizing off our ignorance.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And shout out to our viewers again. Sister Sharifa Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, dear sister. We see you. And dear brother, now that we've covered that part of it, that's one of the things that they say, that we say that's incendiary or that is anti-Semitic. But like I said, challenge what we say. Now the big one here is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. They claim that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is a racist.
Right.
Or he's obsessed with, or that he hates Jews.
Right.
So if you believe that, challenge what we say, challenge what we believe. Brother Alfonso, how do you feel about that accusation?
Right.
That the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is a racist, or that he's a Jew hater, that he's obsessed with Jews?
Right.
Speak on that.
Man, great question. Now, I got two answers to that.
Go ahead.
One, I would say, first of all, he's an original man.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? Like we said last week, you know what I'm saying? That we are the original Semitics.
Right.
You know what I mean? The Semites. Right. You know what I mean? Because we come from that area, according to our lessons.
Yes,
and these so-called Jews are Khazars. They are Eastern Europeans who converted to the religion and stole Palestine away from the Palestinians, and they are occupying that land from those people. So that's one way to destroy that false allegation. The second way is this. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that there are two different types of Jews. You got one Jew who studies the Torah, who follow the laws of Moses, you know, who doesn't believe in occupying Palestine. They don't believe in Zionism.
Exactly.
And then you have another Jew who is a Zionist or believes in Zionism, who studies the Babylonian Talmud, and they kick them Palestinians out of their land. And they're occupying their land right now. So the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan made a clear distinction between both those Jews, and he even has a couple pictures with the Jews of the Torah, those who follow the laws of Moses. Why? Because the prophet community is one community all the way from Abraham all the way to Muhammad. You know what I mean? And those people we rock with. You know what I mean? But the other ones who wrote a book by their own hand, which is called the Babylonian Talmud, the ones that the Quran revealed, it said that they would write a book with their own hand. Those are the ones that we say, look, man, y'all are the synagogue of Satan. Y'all don't believe in God. How y'all portray, them people don't believe in God.
Right.
You know, because if they believe in God, they would be following Moses, but they don't follow Moses. Right. You know what I mean? So that's my answer there, brother.
Yes, sir. And you know, and I'm glad you mentioned that. The difference, you pretty much laid out the difference between one type of Jew and the other type of Jewish person, and that's particularly what we're dealing with at this particular point in time. But you know, I'm glad you mentioned that, because like we do in the Nation of Islam, we don't just give you something and then just expect you to just roll with it. We just got a visit from our beloved Western Regional Student Minister, Tony Muhammad. He came in looking clean. You know, assalamu alaikum, dear brother minister. But if y'all go to nkusa.org, I want y'all to check out that website. It's not no Muslims. In fact, it's the whitest Jews. These are the Orthodox Jews. Go to nkusa.org. And these are anti-Zionist Orthodox Jews. And they'll tell you the difference. So if you don't believe your brothers, which you probably don't, go ahead and hear it from our Orthodox Jewish brothers. And they'll tell you the difference between a Zionist Jew and the Jew and the real Jews, or the closest thing that you can find in Israel when it comes to Orthodox Jews. But at this time, I got to turn it over and greet my dear brother, minister, our Western Regional Student Minister. Like I say, he is respected from Manchester Boulevard to Manchester, England, and he's come through.
Yes, sir.
Dear brother, this is our Western Regional Student Minister, Tony Muhammad. Walaikum salam, dear brother. How you feeling?
Man, I'm wonderful. Praise be to Allah.
Yes, sir.
Look,
Yes,
I just wanted to give you all the greetings. I was close by listening to what you all are doing. And I just wanted to again thank the both of you, Brother Landon and Brother Alfonso, for what you all are doing.
Yes, sir.
Because you're getting a chance to allow people to talk to us, to hear our side of the story. Because what happens, brothers and sisters, whatever is true for you have to be based on what you have seen, experienced for yourself. Our enemy want to give you, Brother Farrakhan, in a soundbite. That's not fair to your ear. That's not fair to your knowingness.
That's right. That's right.
What's fair to you is to be able to hear the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan for yourself.
That's right.
So by God's grace, this Sunday, I'm going to show you
Come on.
what a Jew is.
Right.
I'm going to do a PowerPoint. You will get a theology class this Sunday.
Come on.
We're going to show you why the Zionist Jew is upset with Brother Farrakhan.
I can't wait.
Yes, sir.
Can't wait.
If you are a Christian, you got to know these are the same Jewish types. Not all Jews, but there are Jews who say that they are Jews.
That's right.
And they are not.
Right.
They are of the synagogue of Satan.
It's the scripture.
See? Now, if you got the truth on Minister Tony or Brother Farrakhan, show me where I have wrong. Don't tell me I'm anti this or anti that. Show me. Don't just say that.
Right.
Prove it.
Fact.
Come on now.
Right.
That's it.
And this is what we have been doing. We are challenging Jewish scholarship. We are criticizing certain Jewish behavior.
Right.
You mean to tell me they can't even take criticism?
Wow.
You mean to tell me there are no Jews that are wicked or have broke the law, that have robbed, that have raped?
Right.
You dealing with this man, some Stein, that done raped all of these actresses.
Come on
Right.
now, Harvey Weinstein. Yes,
Weinstein.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, is he a good Jew?
Come
No,
on.
sir.
Come on.
Don't mean that he can't become good.
Right.
Right.
But he's done some wicked things.
Right.
That's right.
So if I say Mr. Weinstein is wicked, so are you trying to tell me I'm saying all Jews are wicked? Stop it. You're not getting that small time stuff over on black people
Right.
no more.
That's right. That's right. No more.
Only thing we don't want to happen is Negro politicians becoming apologists for Jews on behalf of black
That's
people.
right. Come on.
Come on,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Any Jew that come to me about any black leader, I'm going to say, let me sit you down with that black leader and let me hear both of y'all. See?
That boy.
Moses will cast his rod and let Pharaoh cast his rod,
That's
and let's
right.
see who true swallow up what lie.
Come on now.
Wow.
Yes,
See?
sir.
So anyway, I wanted to thank the both of you for allowing
Thank you, sir.
people to talk to you, to ask you questions.
That's
Yes, sir.
right. That's right.
See, brothers and sisters, we're not perfect. We like correction.
That's
we
right.
like critique, but not on the basis of your emotion.
Right.
I
Teach.
don't want to know how you feel about Minister Farrakhan.
Right.
I want to know what you know about Minister Farrakhan
on.
Good
or
teaching.
any member of the
Good
nation.
That's
teaching.
right. That's
See?
right.
So don't tell me what you feel, because anything can give you a feeling. I want to know what's
Right.
your experience.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good teaching.
See? And don't base your experience on a whole group messed up with the whole, like in the nation. We have to, even in the nation, be careful of saying all Jews are bad. We've
Right,
never
sir.
done that.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Some Jews.
Yes,
Right.
sir. Yes, sir.
See? There are so-called people that are saying they're Muslim and they wicked as hell.
That's true.
That's the truth.
Any man that'll blow up other people that are innocent, he's wicked. That ain't Islam.
Yes, sir.
That's
Right.
wickedness. That's somebody who has emotionally lost it.
Come on.
Woo. Right.
Now, I can understand that if you can't get redressed, it will drive you crazy. If a husband won't listen to a wife when she's trying to redress and she then want to stab him or cut him, don't mean that she went crazy for no reason.
Right.
She had a reason.
She had a reason, but it should never be murder.
Right.
So, family, we don't need you getting in the middle of an argument between the nation and some Jews. We need for you to encourage the Jews. Let's see a showdown between the Jews and the nation. Why is Minister Farrakhan criticizing certain Jews? Why are we saying biblically we are the real Jews? Can we prove that? Can we show that?
Yes, sir.
We can prove that Minister Farrakhan is being attacked just like Jesus was by certain Jews.
That's right. That's
so don't
right.
get me fired up. Y'all can handle this.
Come on, brother.
I'm gonna leave. Hopefully I got you all into some trouble.
Yes, sir. Come on with it.
You
Come
know,
on with it.
But brothers and sisters, ask any questions that you have of us.
Please do.
And if you're not doing anything, tune in this Sunday.
Right.
Yes, sir.
This Sunday,
Yes,
the
sir.
brothers will tell you how to tune in.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to go live, a PowerPoint presentation. I'm going to show you what certain rabbis think. I'm going to show you things that's in the Talmud. We're going to show you. I'm going to show you how many plantations was owned by Jewish people.
Wow.
Come on.
I'm going to show you what Mr. Brofman, who worked for the Simon Wiesenthal, what he said about black people, what they truly think about us. They think that we're subhuman. Some of them in the Talmud and rabbis said that black people are monkeys.
That's true.
That's what they said.
I'm going to show you their words. I'm going to show you how it came out of their books. Not only am I going to tell you who the author is, I'm going to tell you the book he wrote. I'm going to tell you the page to go to. I'm going to tell you the paragraph.
Right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
See, we're going to show you that some Jews are anti-black.
Come on.
Go ahead, go
Yes,
ahead.
sir.
I'm going to show
Yes,
you
sir.
what the JDL, anti-black. APEC, anti-black. The Southern Poverty Law Center, anti-black.
Right.
Aren't you tired of people telling us who should be our leaders?
Yes,
Come on.
sir.
Come on.
Get out of our business.
I know that's right.
We're not all up in Chinese people business
No,
telling
sir.
them who to choose their leader.
Right.
We're not telling Koreans. They got an area called Koreatown.
Right.
That's right.
They got an area called Chinatown.
That's right.
We're not telling Jews who their leaders should be.
That's right.
But why is everybody trying to tell us who our leaders should be?
Come on now. That part.
And if you are allowing people to do that, you are Uncle Tom handkerchief head Negro who needs to be expelled from the black
That's it.
community.
Right.
That's it.
Yes, sir.
Thank y'all.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Alaikum, family.
Alaikum
Salam. Yes,
salam.
sir.
Love you too.
That's what I'm talking about. Man, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. Once again, that's our
Give it up
beloved.
for that,
Now
brother.
you see why we love this, man. And I'm a double down. Don't just view Facebook Live this Sunday. Come down 8701 South Vermont, Los Angeles, California. Be my guest. 90044. In fact, the first guest that comes and says, "Hey, where's Brother Land? You can't miss me. You can't miss this big head. You come and see me and say, brother, Nation Town Live defending Farrakhan, you getting a free bean
That's
pie.
right.
That's on your brother. That's on your the large one too, not the little midget one, the large one. And
That's
come by and see this brother, man, because I'm telling you, you will never forget it. He's gonna break it down top to bottom. If you've ever seen his Facebook Live lectures, I'm telling you, it's nothing like being there in the house. You know, we have a very intimate venue here, so you'll be, just a few feet from the brother, and you really get to see it for yourself,
Right.
and not just on no computer screen. So definitely come down and be my guest. Be Brother
Come on,
Alfonso's guest, and just come learn with your family. We just your family. I'm just your brother. Brother Alfonso is just your brother, and come down and see this Sunday. Doors open at 10:30. All right, and we officially get started at 11 o'clock, 8701 South Vermont Boulevard. But we're gonna keep the show rolling. But another thing that we have to remember about the minister that I think gets overlooked is the fact that our beloved minister, since he was a child, he's played the instrument known as the violin. And that's interesting because I found out a couple of years ago that the violin has a nickname. It's known by many people in the music industry as the Jewish harp. They call the violin the Jewish harp. So here's a man that you think just hates Jews. He just go to sleep every night, 4-letter words coming out of his mouth about Jews. That's what you think. But this man has been playing the Jewish harp, and if you play the violin, that's a industry that's pretty much controlled by the Jews. So if you get violin lessons, if you do violin shows, you have to come across Jews. And if you get a chance to listen or to purchase his music collection that he just released, which is beautiful, go through the scrapbook. It's got a beautiful book on the inside. He has pictures with Jewish people. He's made music with Jewish people. So that proves in itself that this man is not an anti-Semite, even by the colloquial definition of it, which is the incorrect definition. But also, I want to remind you, go to NK, N as in never, K as in Kevin, USA.org. Go to that website so you can find out for yourself what actual Jews who believe, these are Jews that believe in the Torah and the Torah alone. Let them tell you what's going on, dear brothers and sisters. So at this point, we're going to also keep it going. Now, Brother Alfonso.
Yes, sir.
Our dear brother, Western Regional Student Minister Tony Muhammad came and dropped that high explosive on us.
Come on.
And I wanna remind you, just like our student minister said, if y'all have any questions relating to the topic, don't be scared, don't be scared, don't be intimidated. We just your brothers. We ain't gonna reach through the screen and slap you if you ask something that's too stupid.
Right.
Just go ahead and ask the question. But we're gonna check and see if we got any questions in. But brother Alfonso, how do you feel about those high explosives that our student minister dropped?
Well, first I want to say tune in Sunday at 11 to hear our student minister Tony teach on that topic, because there is a lot of vital information that can give you life. You know what I mean? Give you an understanding of why we're saying what we're saying, give you a background of what we're talking about, because sometimes people can come into the conversation and not necessarily have a thorough understanding of what's being said over this heated discussion, and why the nation think that the nation got beef with all Jews, but we don't have beef with all Jews.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So we want you to get a thorough understanding. So I do want to say tune in at 11, because like student minister Tony was teaching, you know what I mean? There has been a lot of injustices done to black people, and we want to expose the black people. We want to expose to black people that they need to understand how these people think about us and how they view us.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So they have some very wicked thoughts towards us. You know what I mean? And then if you understand that, then you will understand why we are in the condition that we are in.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And pardon me for laughing,
yes,
man.
Sir.
I just read a funny comment from my brother Marcus.
Right.
Brother, it might be blueberry cheese, it might be regular bean, but you don't qualify, brother. You registered, brother. You don't count. You don't count. I don't get no credit for it, so brother, you don't count. I'm gonna have to charge you, brother. I might give you a little discount, but to all I'm serious about that bean pot challenge. Challenge what we say, but I got the bean pot challenge.
Right.
Come and see your brother. The key words, the code word is defending Farrakhan, Nationtown TV. Look for this big head, and I'm gonna hit you off with the pot.
That's right.
But you gotta stay for the whole meeting. If you try to slip out after 15 minutes, I'm gonna hit you with a pot. No, I'm just playing. But moving along, dear brother, that was real truth that you just spit.
Right.
I'm gonna do something that our Caucasian friends like to do very often. I think everybody who's watching this, from the sound of my voice, that's Aboriginal, Black, Hispanic, I know you've experienced this before, but you have Caucasians who will tell you, oh, I'm not racist. I've got many black friends.
Right.
And then they show you a picture of that friend, that one friend, and usually the friend is whiter than them, but that's neither here nor there. I'm going to do what they do. We're not racist. In fact, I'm going to point out, I already sent you to nkusa.org. I already sent you there. But now I'm going to point out an actual philosopher and writer. an activist who is Jewish, who I prescribe. I'm gonna tell you to go check him out. He is a man, a white man by the name of Tim Wise. He is a Jewish activist, very Jewish. He makes it clear that he's Jew. But here's what I like about Tim Wise, and here's what I like about NKUSA. And I'm gonna tell you what that means. NK means Netore Carter, which means Guardians of the City, and it's got a deep meaning. I want you to go to that website and find out what that meaning is. But here's what I like about Netore Carter and Tim Wise and white people like that. They don't come to us and try to teach us and try to lead our organizations and try to hijack our movements. Right. They go to their own people and they teach their own people not to be racist. They go to their own people and tell them what their ancestors have done over the years, and that's what I respect. There's a famous scene on the movie Malcolm X where this white girl walks up to, and this actually happened. The Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan confirmed that this happened because he was really with Malcolm when this happened. A white girl walked up to him and on the campus of Harvard University and asked him and said, Mr. Malcolm, I'm really ashamed of everything that our ancestors did. Is it anything that I can do to help you out? Anything whatsoever? And Malcolm looked at her with a straight face and said, nothing. There's nothing that you can do. And I think, in fact, I know that Malcolm was actually wrong about that, because what white people can actually do, or any people of any other race or any other religious ideology, what you can do to help us, what you can do to help defend Farrakhan, is not come to us and pat us on the back and then try to blend in with us. Go to your own people. Go to your own people and tell them what you know. Right. Give them examples. Give them testimonies about what you know about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Right. What you know about that one Muslim that you buy your pies and papers from. Right. Tell them what you know. And I'm going to give you an example of why I respect Tim Wise. This is a quote from Tim Wise. He said, and I quote, "How many of us have ever had to worry?" When he says us, he's talking about Jews. How many of us Jews have ever had to worry that our Farrakhan following employer might fire us or mistreat us because we're Jews? How many of us have been turned down? He said, how many of us have been turned down for a loan because an FOI, loan officer at a bank, didn't like us? And he says, until we deal with real racism coming from white supremacy, we won't be taken seriously on a dialogue about race in America. Wow.
That's why I like Tim Wise.
See, Tim Wise, he keeps it real and he takes that message to his people. Right. A lot of y'all watching this, black and Hispanic, may not have heard that name before. Right. And that's because he doesn't come around us trying to teach us what we already know.
Read that one more time.
I'm going to read that one more time. This is coming from Tim Wise. He's a very Jewish white man, very white, about as white as this wall behind me. And this is what he said dealing with racism. He said, how many of us Jews have ever had to worry that our Farrakhan following employer might fire us or mistreat us because we're Jewish? And then he asked another question. How many of us have been turned down for a loan because an FOI, and he actually said FOI, an FOI loan officer at a bank didn't like us? Until we deal with real racism coming from white supremacy, we won't be taken seriously on a dialogue about race in America. Right. And that's why I don't take them seriously when they start talking that anti-Semite stuff. Right. Because they are just not, when you look up their history, just for 5 minutes, you look up their history, they are in no place to point the finger on racism or oppression, because they were behind the scenes or in front of the scenes on every bout of racism that has ever taken place really on this earth in the last 6,000 years. And that's a fact, brothers and sisters.
And also you gotta look at somebody and really observe them if all they can do is play the role of a victim. You know what I'm saying? Something's got to be wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? You a victim all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like Minister Farrakhan said, you can't do no wrong. You know what I mean? And this is what we dealing with when we dealing with they say the synagogue of Satan.
That's right.
You know what I mean? He gonna play the role of a victim. You know what I'm saying? But he ain't gonna take none of the responsibility for the evil and the wickedness that he do to other people. You know what I'm saying? But one thing this is why we have to understand the Babylonian Talmud.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That they believe not only that we are subhuman, but whatever injustice that they do to us, they feel that they have a divine right. You know what I'm saying? They feel that they have a divine right to somebody's property if they are not a Jew. You know what I'm saying? If you are considered a Gentile and you lose something and they find it, they feel like it's theirs divinely. Right. They feel like that they can kill you. You know what I'm saying? Unjustifiably, but through the Babylonian Talmud and what they teach, they had a right to do that because you wasn't human in the first place. You was like a beast or an animal to them. That's right. You know what I mean? So you have to pay attention to that. If somebody always want to be a victim, you know what I'm saying? You got to really look at that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we also had a comment that I'm going to touch on. One of our viewers also pointed out Michael Hoffman. And that's who I was talking about earlier. He's an example of what I was talking about earlier, of someone who's just committed to truth. Right. You know, not saying that they can't lie, but their job description, what they do as researchers is, and being scholars on a particular topic, you can't be a lying scholar. Right. You know, you know, even if you got to whisper the truth, you will lose your credibility as a scholar if you're going around throwing opinions. Right. You know, so Michael Hoffman, I agree, is absolutely another one who just tells the truth. He tells the truth. Now, he has said some negative things about the minister before, but he's never called the minister a lie. And most recently, he pointed out that the minister was 100% correct when he quoted from the Babylonian Talmud. Right. He was absolutely correct. Now, another thing.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say about one thing about scholarship, as Brother Dr. Wesley also mentioned and taught us. He said scholarship is about methodology. He said scholarship is about methodology. You know what I mean? He said anybody can just read books and gather information, but he said we cannot be intellectual swine. Right. And that's what a lot of black people are suffering from. You know what I mean? We take information from anywhere without vetting the sources. That's right. You know, so we make a lot of egregious false statements about the Nation of Islam. That's right. You know what I'm saying? Without vetting your sources. You know what I'm saying? One brother, he made a video bashing the Nation of Islam, and he had the link up. So when you look closely to the link said SPL Center, meaning Southern Poverty Law Center, one of our biggest enemies. You know what I'm saying? The satanic Jews, you know what I'm saying? They consider us anti-Semite. Brother is reading from that article. You know what I mean? So scholarship is all about methodology and vetting the sources. You know what I mean? Like brother said, you can't just be a lying scholar. You know what I mean? Because if you just gonna just lie through your whole scholarship, then that's poor methodology.
That's right, and the Holy Quran speaks on that, right. You know, where it basically tells us, and I'm paraphrasing, be careful when an unrighteous man brings you news. Right. You know, because you'll harm a people in ignorance and you'll be sorry for what you do. Right. You know, and that's why I love the Quran. It speaks straight. It ain't no poetry in the Quran. It's just straight, the word of God, and you can live your life based on that. And another thing I wanted to point out, dear brother, is, you know, the secret relationship between blacks and Jews that I pointed out earlier. It goes into a great detail about the Jewish involvement in the slave trade. Right. But you know, when a group of people are guilty of doing a thing, you know, they got this thing they say in criminology where they say, you know, a criminal always comes back to the scene of the crime. They always come back to the scene of the crime. You probably saw a TV show that might have told you that. But you know what? When when it's really in them to do something, just give them a minute. They're going to do it again. Right. And I'll give you an example. During slavery, we were not allowed to read. When they finally gave us a Bible and allowed us to worship, they would always send a slave hand into our church services to make sure that we wasn't reading out of the book of Exodus, which was about freeing slaves, and to make sure that we were teaching what the slave master wanted us to teach. And they would even tell the slaves, which slaves they should like, which other slaves they shouldn't like,
right.
And they made sure that you didn't like them because they posted a brother up in front of every other slave and everybody else on the plantation and cut his foot off or whipped the skin off his back. I'm telling you, they still do it today.
Right.
They went up there and told the entire congressional black caucus, they told all of those congressmen and congresswomen, you cannot have the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan as a friend.
Right.
Think about how that sounds.
Right.
A grown man telling another grown man and another grown woman who you can be friends with. That sounds like a slave master.
Right.
That sounds like somebody who's telling you where you can go,
right.
how far you can go,
right.
what you can read, what you can't read. And if you get caught reading it, then you don't deserve to have your job.
Right.
That sounds like a slave master.
Right.
So if they dispute, which they can, if they dispute what's actually in this book, then first of all, they have to dispute that, but they also have to make sure that those traits are not still in them. Because they're still showing the traits of a slave master
right.
by telling grown black congressmen and women who they can be friends with. I will never go to another grown person that I have no authority over
right.
and tell them you can't have this person or that person as
right.
a friend. But the operative word is who I don't have authority over.
Right.
So this whole situation where Jews are trying to tell black congressmen and women, educated, accomplished, civilized black men and women who they can have as friends,
right.
that proves who has authority over them. It ain't you, it's the Jew.
That these people are the enemies of our community. Let me see that book right there.
Yes, sir.
I remember the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was telling the story how he had met Edgar Bronfman, right? And Edgar Bronfman was telling the minister to denounce this book, repudiate this book.
Right.
And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan told that man, he said, listen, he said, yeah, I'll repudiate this book and denounce it, although it is written, everything in here is written by nothing but Jewish scholars, historians, and rabbis. So I do it tomorrow. If you come out tomorrow and you repudiate and denounce all these historians, rabbis, and scholars of this book, that's in this book first.
Come on.
So they talking about denouncing somebody. Why don't they denounce all these historians, scholars, and rabbis in this book? Secondly, we talking about these Negroes repudiating and denouncing the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Like my brother said, y'all ain't got watermelons, you know what I'm saying? You gonna let another grown man tell you what to do. Well, all that is all you doing is revealing your hand.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? You revealing who you really are. You know what I'm saying? A black devil. You know what I'm saying? Because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that anybody can be a devil, but not everybody can be saved.
That's right.
Here is the letter. Here's an open letter to black leadership that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan wrote. He wrote them an open letter telling black people, and he said it on several occasions, black people, stand down. I even remember him going as far as in the lecture, Who Are the Real Children of Israel? He was telling you scared to death Negroes, sit down and shut up and tell your master to come out here and deal with this. You know what I mean? Why do you want to be a human? Why do you want to be held ransom or a hostage? You know what I'm saying? Like one of the movie scenes, like one of the old Bruce Willis movies. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to kill a villain, but the villain has got a hostage propped up in front of him, so he don't be a target.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Because the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is targeting our enemies.
That's right.
Who are justifiably we are justified in doing what we're doing on behalf of black people. You know what I'm saying? So if you're going to be a puppet and stand in between the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the synagogue of Satan, you know what I'm saying? You are an enemy because you are a willing participant of the rise of black men and women in America.
That's right. I completely agree, brother. And, it's funny, that Fox just aired, they re-aired, I should say, a program with O.J. Simpson. If I did it. I
Right.
think is what it's called.
Right.
Where
If I did it.
Where he gives you
I heard about
where he
this.
gives you a play-by-play
Right.
of if he happened to kill Nicole Brown Simpson,
wow.
and her Ron Goldman, which was her boyfriend at the time. Now, why am I bringing up OJ? Because I noticed that they always throw OJ into the mix every time there's a controversy surrounding the Honorable
That's
Mr.
weird.
Louis Farrakhan.
Right.
Because OJ was the order of the day. It was the news topic of the day during the 90s, throughout the 90s, after it happened. Whenever the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan was being thrown out there as an anti-Semite. And I put those two things together in my head. And our Western Regional student minister, Tony Muhammad, made a beautiful point this past Sunday, and this is why y'all got to come out and see this man teach. He pointed out, he asked everybody in the audience to raise your hand if you ever committed a crime, any crime, from a DUI to stealing a bag of potato chips when you was a little boy or a grown man, whatever you got going on in your life. But raise your hand if you ever committed a crime. And he pointed out that the devil always keeps track of your criminal record. And that criminal record, even if it was one terrible decision, that can keep you from getting a job, brother. That can literally take 20, 30 years away from you, away from your family, and it can completely derail your life. Now, I'm not going to start a debate or an argument about whether or not that's rightful for somebody to lose half their life or their whole life on one mistake. But most people will agree that that is justice. And OJ, even though he was acquitted for that murder, almost every white person will agree and say that he is a murderer. They will call him straight up a murderer. Based on what they think he did at one night in Brentwood to Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman. Now, why am I talking about this? Because if you pull up the record on Jews, and that's another reason why you got to read this series of books. If you pull up their record, if you look at their record, just the record of white people in general, they don't have one Nicole Simpson situation. Experts estimate that anywhere from 10 to 100 million black people were murdered and killed during this transatlantic slave trade. And you can stop right there. You don't have to talk about the 4 little girls in Birmingham. You don't have to talk about the numerous lynchings in the South, during Reconstruction all the way down to the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, and 2000s. A brother who got found hanging in Atlanta just last year. So look up their record. Are these people, according to their record, according to their credit report, anytime you try to do anything, even if you try to rent an apartment, they do a background check on you.
Come on.
So I'm saying to my brothers and sisters, I'm not even talking to white folks. They know where they stand. I'm talking to my brothers and sisters. When it comes to who you're going to believe, if you're going to try to diss the nation and use a link from the Southern Poverty Law Center or something like that, ask yourself, check their record. Find out who they are. What's their credit report when it comes to race? What's their credit report when it comes to justice, freedom, equality? What is their credit score? It's in the negatives, brother. It ain't even 50 or 80 or 100. It's in the negatives. But we still believe every word that comes out of their mouth, and we let them choose our leaders. I had a brother who asked me one time. He asked the question. He said, man, I haven't heard anything about Farrakhan in a long time. So I don't really care what's going on with him. I had to stop him right there. I said, brother, so these news networks, all owned and operated by Jews, all of these major publications, all owned and operated by Jews, are not telling you about a particular black man, and because of that, you don't want to hear what he has to say. So I said, essentially, you allowing your oppressor to choose your leaders and to choose not just your leaders, because the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that his favorite title is brother. So you allowing them to choose your brother? You're allowing them to pick and choose who you listen to based on who they put out there. And we wonder why we've been in the same condition for the last 100 plus years since slavery.
Look at each other like brothers and sisters.
Exactly.
And that's the problem. You know what I'm saying? We don't look at each other as if we are family.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And every other race of people, you know what I'm saying, they are tighter than us.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know, but back to that, back to the credit check, the credit report
Yes, sir.
situation. Now, reportedly, among the Jews, that there were reportedly 6 million of them that were that died, that were killed by Hitler, allegedly.
Yes, sir.
But the figures say that it wasn't that many Jews. They say it wasn't 6 million people.
Right.
But according to our historical records, with our 400 plus year sojourn in America, we lost over 600 million people.
That's right.
So can you really compare a guesstimated 6 million people, 6 million that ain't even for sure, over 600 million people?
Mathematics is Islam.
You know what I'm saying?
Come on.
They don't even fit the prophecy in the Bible, Genesis 15:13, where it says in the book God talking to Abraham, he said, "No." Years is up, I will judge the nation. I will judge that nation. You know what I'm saying? So we know that these people who call themselves Jew or the chosen people of God, they didn't fulfill that scripture. That's for right. Being in a strange land among a strange people for over 400 years.
They admitted it.